This podcast features adult content not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. You have been warned.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Back to the Story, where friends come together to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be your DM, Klouse. Let's get started.
You guys ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, let's start like we always do, a little bit of recap to remind you of the sticky situation you're currently in. So previously, in Back to the Story, you all spent the night in the cave, sharing watches with Kristoff staying up through the night. There was a few minor disturbances through the otherwise restful night as Calvin read his letter in the morning, and you all planned deciding to spend one more day at the cave, and so that you all and Ball could recover from the Hydra incident. During the day, you rested, talked, and Calvin occasionally patrolled, finding a strange jaguar. Calvin and Wink tried to track the creature who attacked Calvin using strange teleportation magic. Surviving this, the rest of the day went mostly without issue. Heading out the next day, Ball led slowly along the sharp ridges of the Knocked Mountain Range, increasing in altitude. Travel was slow and confusing due to the many sharp crags formed by the rising ridges. The natural narrow paths continued as you tried to take the path which Kristoff suggested. When you came upon a wider area between ridges with strangely shaped ruins of dark red-purple stone and ashen ground void of vegetation. Pushing through, you all made it about halfway through when from the ground and from behind walls creatures descended. These undead entities were fast with sharp, numbing black claws, open jaws, and long protruding tongues. The poisonous claws paralyzed Wink, Ball, and Vesper, who fell unconscious moments later. Now let me get you guys on the correct map, where we will pick up an initiative. Starting with Vesper. You are unconscious on the ground, wounds bleeding out, body still paralyzed, unmoving. Make a death saving throw.
Okay, let's see what dice do I want to use for this. I'm going to use my Raven Queen dice. Let's do it. That's an 18.
So that is one success. You're still bleeding out, but it's slowed down just a bit with your unmoving body. And that brings us down to Wink. You can still see out, though you can't move your body, as one of these creatures, this long tongue, is snarling at you. Make a con save. Or let me make sure I get the save right. But at the end of your turn, you will make a con save.
Great.
So at the end of your turn, you kind of break loose from it once again. Some of your body is still numb, but you're able to start moving it once again.
Okay.
That is at the end of your turn. And then in front of Calvin, Ellery, you and Calvin see this creature in front of them suddenly attack. Trying to claw at Calvin. That is not going to do it a 9 as he claws towards you. The tongue whipping, you just take the hilt of your blade and just knock the claw away. And that will bring us up to Ellery.
Okay, so I wasn't sure what I was going to do before, but seeing Vesper go down, that makes the decision for me. I am going to cast Scorching Ray, with one ray going towards the one that's attacking Wink, and 2 rays going towards the one that I think you said was missing a jaw.
Yeah, that's the one that's with the red marker on him. He's
right.
The one that's missing the bottom part of the jaw. He's going to have a little bit of cover between Amson and Ball, but not too much. The other one has no cover.
Okay. So do you want me to roll these one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can roll all 3 subsequently, but just 3 separate attacks.
I mean, do you want me to roll damage in between each one, or wait and do the damage at the end?
You can do damage each time.
Okay. Ooh. So the first one towards the one attacking Wink was just a 9.
That is going to miss.
Okay. The second one towards the other one is 13.
That is going to miss. Trying to weave it between Amson and Ball, you strike it over there, but the thing is actually quick and just ducks under the narrow-guided bolt, slamming into the wall and tree behind as the flames look over.
Let's hope I roll better on my last one. That is going to be an 18.
That'll hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
6.
All right. Are you going to stay where you are, Ellery?
Yeah, I'm going to just stay back to back with Calvin.
Okay. So just staying back to back with Calvin, you conjure up these 3 bolts of fire just to your right, left, and right again, or left, right, and left again, striking one of them finally in front of Wink, who you see is now starting to move. And that is going to bring us up to you, Amson.
Okay, so I will start off by, we're back to normal 5e rules of movement, right?
Yeah. As far as attacks of opportunity and flanking goes.
Okay.
Just normal 5e.
So I'll move over here, get out of the way a little bit, and then stab at the one in front of me, looming over Vesper, with my rapier.
All right.
Use this one.
Striking forth.
That's a 13 to hit.
That'll hit.
Okay.
You can see it's focused, looking down at Vesper, tongue whipping out, not paying attention as you strike it in the side.
That is 7 points of piercing damage.
You can hear the air escape from the lungs you punctured as you withdraw your rapier.
And then...
as it turns towards you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, I'm going to use my bonus action to cast Healing Word, and I'm going to bump it up to a 2nd level and cast it on Vesper. So that'll be an extra 1d4. Hey, that's really good. So that is 10 points of healing.
Okay, so Vesper, you're conscious. And Vesper, I meant to have you roll this then. Roll a Constitution saving throw for me at the end of your previous turn to see if you
Natural 20.
paralyzed. Okay, so you are currently conscious and no longer paralyzed.
Oh, good.
And Amson, are you going to stay where you are?
Actually, I'll move a little bit further towards the west so that I'm, even though Ball's paralyzed, that I'm flanking with him.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so after striking and then healing Vesper, you shift over, and that is going to bring us up to Meli, who is going to shoot a crossbolt. Not bad, right on the line. That should hit. Not great on damage, but she does fire an icy blast at one of the creatures next to you, Amson and Vesper. It seems to be coated with ice, slowed down for a moment. And that will bring us up to Ball, who at the end of his turn is going to make a Constitution saving throw. His muscles are tightened and numbed from the poison coursing through him. And at the end of the turn, you see him break loose and turn to face the creatures. And that will bring us up to the one that was hovering over Vesper, the drool dripping from its tongue and mouth. As you healed her and shifted after stabbing it, Amson, it tracked you. And he's going to go try to strike you.
Actually, yeah.
Did you have anything?
Well, if it's going to hit me, then I would like to do cutting words.
Okay. Do you have to do it after it hits, or do you have to do it before you know whether it hits or not? It doesn't matter. It's a 14, so you can decide.
Oh, yeah, that'll hit me, so I'll use cutting words on it.
Okay.
And I'm going to say... My dog smells better than you. And... So, remove 5 from that.
Okay, so what, a 9, so that should miss.
Yep.
Okay, so what was going to strike you? You say this thing to him, and it just kind of cocks its head to the side for a moment, just long enough to throw it off balance as you just step to the side, just missing you. That's going to bring us up to round 3 and up to Calvin. As you see, the undead entity right in front of you, tongue hanging out, is hanging onto a thread of life, but is still just gaping mouth at you, trying to claw at you. And there's a few others in the vicinity.
Well, I'm gonna try to attack it. It looks like it's on its last, right?
Yeah, it's one of its arms. You can see the sinew barely holding one of its arms together.
All right, we're gonna do one at a time. I'm gonna attack it once and see how that goes. 18.
Oh yeah, that'll hit.
To hit.
Yeah, that will definitely hit.
That's 3 fire and 5 slashing.
As you strike, you cut through its neck and the large, long hanging tongue that comes down to about its sternum. You cut that loose as well as it flops over to the ground, the body slumping to its knees and then falling back on the ground, dead.
All right, I'll take a quick look, kind of nudge Ellery, let her know that I'm running off. I'm going to run up to this one up here that's flanking Ball and use my bonus action to attack it.
Calvin, when you get right here, make a dexterity save for me.
I'd rather not.
You're running through, and there's these thorny roots that are kind of wrapping around the well, making it somewhat hard to see. And as you step there, you hear a click, and you hear creaking of rusty metal as you quickly try to move.
8 saving throw?
Yeah, dexterity saving throw.
18.
18. You leap off and you hear a loud snap. Turning over your shoulder, you see where a bear claw, a rusty old hunter's trap, just slams together as you're able to successfully leap over it and get right there where you wanted to be.
Oh, sweet Josephine. All right, let's do this. That's a 20. Dirty 20.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me, 19. 19.
That'll still hit.
I know math. 4 fire and 6 slashing.
Okay. So as you run over, leaping over that and slashing into this creature, you slash across its back as it was focusing on Ball, as it kind of starts to turn its head to look over your shoulder towards you. Is that in your turn, Calvin?
That'll do it.
All right. That will bring us up to this one down here in front of Wink, who is now moving, which is good. But it's going to try to strike towards you, Wink, its claws. That will be a natural 20.
Yep. Yeah, that'll do it.
So that's going to be 13 slashing damage.
Okay.
And let me make sure. And I need you to make another Constitution saving throw.
Already did. 13.
Okay. So this one slashes across towards your throat, ripping part of the tendons loose along towards one of your shoulders. And you feel that numbing sensation, but you press forward and remain conscious, standing and in control of your body movements. And it is just going to bear down on top of you, get close to you. And that's going to bring us up to this one. Calvin, as you strike the back of this creature, it's going to quickly turn around, striking towards you. And that's going to be a 23 to hit.
It's his lucky day.
7 slashing damage, and make a Constitution saving throw. Then it turns around with the claws.
Natural 20, my friend.
Natural 20. You feel this numbing sensation along where it struck you, but you're able to maintain your movement. And then that will finally bring us up to the jawless entity. The lower jaw missing the tongue hanging out, looks down at the now conscious Vesper and is going to strike down upon her.
That's unnecessary.
That's probably true. But he's going to do it anyway. Another natural 19. That's going to be a 24 to hit.
No, definitely not.
Okay. This means 7 slashing damage.
Okay.
I would like to do cutting words on the damage.
Okay.
For that, and I'm going to say, I'm jealous of all the people that haven't met you.
You see this as it's less of a strike and more of just launching its claws straight into her stomach. But it turns to you as it hears this, kind of instinctively trying to react to dodge something, almost it looks like. And instead of going into her stomach, it hits part of her armor and kind of scratches, still penetrates somewhat, but not as bad, reducing the damage by...
So instead of 7, you said?
7 goes to...
That's a 2, so it goes down to 5.
Down to 5. And... also make a Constitution saving throw.
Son of a bitch. No, that's a delicious 8. And it's not
okay.
great.
So as this creature strikes into you with the claws, you feel that sensation washing over you once again as you are frozen on the ground. And that's going to bring us up to you, Vesper. Make a Constitution save at the end of your turn.
Fucking not as... No. It's an 11.
11. That's pretty close. That's going to just make it. As you just break loose of this momentary lapse, as you feel most of your body is numb as you're continuously being paralyzed, but you break through it this time, and that is going to bring us up to Wink, as you have this thing bearing down on you.
I actually have to say something. I didn't get my reaction back, so that's actually 7 damage. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you for being honest. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Wink, you have a undead entity, long tongue, bearing down on you. What would you like to do?
Okay, I really don't want to be hit again, but I'm kind of useless up close. So, I'm gonna throw my net at him. So it's with disadvantage. But if it hits with a 12?
That is just enough.
So he is restrained. He has to use his action to make a DC 10 strength check to get out or deal 5 slashing damage. So right now he's restrained, so I'm going to run away and hope that with disadvantage he doesn't hit me.
Okay, so tossing the net up at the creature right in front of you. No, that is an 8, as he tries to strike at you, but he's held tight by the netting as you shift over.
And I'll go there is as far as I can get. And that's my turn.
Okay, so escaping from the immediate vicinity of that undead creature, that is going to bring us up to Ellery.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cast Firebolt at the one that is now restrained.
Okay, that should be at advantage.
Okay, that's
Correct.
good because my... Okay, no, that's still not good. That's a 9 total.
Wow, so even as it's held tight and restrained, its movements are somehow harder to predict as it's struggling in this net, and you just predict the wrong direction as he moves to the left when you shot right, and the flames go over, landing into the strange reddish-purple stone behind him at weird angles as the flame just licking up over the side of him. Do you want to stay where you are?
Yeah, I think I'm going to stay put.
Okay, staying there. That brings us up to Amson.
All right, okie dokes. So, I know that Vesper's not doing very great right now, but how's Wink?
Looking better than Vesper.
All right. So, let's do another healing word on Vesper then as my bonus action. And I'll, sure, let's do it at 2nd level again. Oh, that's even better. That is 11 points of healing. But that's my last 2nd level spell. For my action, I'm going to stab at the one in front of me. Yeah, I'm going to stab at the one in front of me with my rapier. Okay. That's a 13. 9 plus 4 is 13.
That will hit.
Okay, 1d8 plus 2. That's another 7.
All right, she's striking into him once again. This creature is starting to look a little wounded here.
Okay, and I'm not going to move. I'm going to stay right there.
Okay, so staying there, that's going to bring us up to Meli, she's going to take a note from Ellery and try to hit the restrained one. Not good. Not good either. Just enough, though. As the restrained one, suddenly a shard of ice just strikes into the creature. He's still up, but he's starting to look pretty rough at this point, being unable to move. And she's just going to take a step, get a little closer to Ellery here. And that's going to bring us up to Ball, who is no longer paralyzed, and he's going to go for the big one. The one with the missing jaw, trying to strike. Unfortunately, though, he's going to miss as he brings this big axe over the top of his head. The jawless one just shifts over to the side as Ball slams the axe into the ground, ash being turned up into the air. And that is going to bring us up to this one, the one right by Amson. Amson, you have struck it twice as it turns to you and is going to try to hit you. That is only a 10 as it strikes toward you quickly. Just like a boxer, drive your neck backwards as it just misses a short. Its reach not long enough to get to you. And that's going to bring us up to the 4th round and to Calvin.
All right, I'm going to do Link from Zelda, do a helicopter blade, swirly bird, and hit him with both my swords. The dude in front of me. That's a 19.
That'll hit.
And that's a 14.
Both will hit.
Cool beans. That's 1 fire damage. Well, I'll add them all together. That probably makes more sense, right?
Okay.
So it's 5 fire damage and 13 slashing.
As you quickly striking towards its stomach, it bends over, and with its neck revealed, the second strike just into the back of its neck. Doesn't cut all the way through, but you do get to the spinal cord and the neck bones as you pull it back, and the creature just falls to at your feet, unmoving. Do you want to stay where you are?
No, I will. I forgot that I could move. I was so shocked by my own attack, I was like, what do I do? 10, 15, 25. Go there. And that's it.
Okay, so moving over there, and that is going to bring us up to... This one down here is going to try to escape from its bounds. No, somehow it tries to push against the netting, but it can't quite get through. You can hear a few cords snap and tear, but he can't quite get all the way loose. And that's his turn. And that's going to bring us up to this one, dead. And then to this one. Calvin, the one you come up behind, it sees you, it turns over its shoulder. It's going to try to strike you. Ugh. That is a 15 to hit.
It's a magic number.
Can I use my reaction to cutting words at?
You can, the attack?
Yep.
Or the attack or the damage?
The attack roll, since
okay.
That was
Go for
the number slide. Yeah, I'm gonna say, Calvin killed a fucking demon of the abyss. Beat that, asshole. And that's reduced by 5.
Okay, yeah. So it suddenly does miss. I think you only needed a 1, so it didn't matter. But yeah, as it turns over, just to almost blindly sweep at Calvin, as it hears your word, it's looking at you and blindly sweeping towards Calvin. Calvin, you easily just kind of barely move these long claws as it's now looking at Amson. And at that, it is going to move over to Amson. Ball and Calvin, you both get attacks of opportunity.
Ball is you.
You gotta roll for ball.
I threw my dice. I gotta go get it. Hold on a second.
Jeez, what the hell?
It's only a 12.
Okay, that'll miss, unfortunately. But Calvin, as you do try to strike it, you miss as the creature is quickly moving, but Ball, with the long axe, is able to just scrape up the back as he does an uppercut, starting at the bottom of its pelvis and kind of rides up along the spinal cord towards the end of the scapula. The creature still manages to make it over to you, Anson. And that's going to bring us... Vesper, you would technically have gotten a attack of opportunity at disadvantage if you wanted to use your action on it.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
That was garbage. That was better, but okay. 14.
Okay, so from the ground, you just barely make it.
Okay, cool. Ooh, that's 10 piercing damage.
Okay, so even from the ground, you strike upwards towards the creature who's not looking for any attack from you, and it just strikes into its leg. As you withdraw, you can see this nasty substance, this dark, not quite blood, just kind of thick dripping from its wounds. And that will bring us up to you. You're currently on the ground.
All right, well, I'm feeling a little claustrophobic. So as I'm getting up, I'm going to grab my holy symbol and start praying, and I'm going to turn undead.
Okay.
So both of these assholes within 30 feet of me need to make wisdom saving throws.
What does this look like as you cast this turn?
I didn't think about this. I think it's this, the holy symbol starts to glow, and this like radiant, wispy kind of white light pours out, I guess, and almost forms like a shield.
Okay. And as that light moves out, once it gets near the jawless entity, you can see it falters just a bit. The strength of this creature is not what you've trained for, not what you've prayed about. And it's clear this entity is powerful enough to where both of these creatures have advantage against that save. The jawless one rolled a 17, and then the other creature right next to you rolled a 15.
15 and sorry, what was the first one?
17.
Yeah, no, this will save.
Okay. So as this energy washes out and hits upon them, you can see it almost, once it hits the jawless creature, it almost falters and the spell shakes and then vanishes.
All right, and then how does Wink look?
I'm actually not that bad.
Amson?
I have yet to be touched.
Okay, cool. Then I'll just get up.
Okay. So standing up with half of your movement. As you do stand, you can see more clearly the light from that turn is burning into some of their exterior skin and flesh, but doesn't seem to make them want to run or change their course. That will bring us up to Wink.
Okay. So I'm gonna back up a little bit more. 5, 10, 15, 20. I'm gonna shoot at the jawless guy.
Go for it.
20.
Yeah, that'll hit.
And I would like to make it a banishing arrow, so he has to make a charisma save.
Not with a natural 2.
Yeah, so I've got that. Does it... Why does it have me do that? So it is banished until the end of its next turn.
Okay, does that do damage as well?
It does my regular arrow damage, so I gotta do that. 6 piercing.
Okay. So as you draw back, the arcane energy stretches along the shaft of the arrow as it striking into the lower throat of this entity. And for a second it glows and pulses. One pulses again, and then and there's an energy, almost like a intense gravitational pull that just warps and the entity who is no longer visible.
I'll just kind of shout out, "It'll be back soon."
All right, Wink. Anything else for you?
No, I hopped up one more square up,
okay,
a little more distance, and then
striking and shifting, banishing. That will bring us up to Ellery.
Okay, so the one down below is still restrained, right?
He's still in that net.
All right, then I'm gonna cast Firebolt at him.
Okay.
Oh, and that one is 24.
And you have advantage on this because he's restrained.
Yeah, that was...
Okay, yeah, that'll definitely hit.
Okay, and then where's my D10? There we go. That's 8.
8, okay. You can see the flames are starting to lick over the cords and are starting to make the netting a little weaker, but you do slam into it while it's unable to effectively dodge. And you see it knocks it back a little bit. You can see some of the tattered remains of vestments, of robes of some sort on these creatures, on this one in particular, begin to catch fire. What's left of it. Are you going to stay where you are?
Yeah, I'm staying put.
And that's going to bring us up to Amson. At the start of your turn, you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh boy. Okay. White one. Yeah, white one never fails me for saves. That's a 16.
Yeah, you were fine. As the creature comes up to you, its jaw open, as well as this nasty fluid that is dripping and this stench that hits your nose like a tidal wave against you, but you steel yourself, the nausea, pushing it away, and remain capable. What would you like to do?
Oh, goodness. How's Ball looking?
Ball's fine.
Okay, how's Vesper looking? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm at 14.
Okay.
Oh, Amson, you actually would have been fine because that creature is not there at all.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well,
I fucked up, though. I know why I didn't lead with Turn Undead is because I already used my Channel Divinity earlier to heal somebody, preserve life.
There we go. So, Amson, there's some remaining stench from the fluids that's dripped on the ground, but not enough to bother you at all since Wink has banished the creature. What would you like to do now?
Oh, okay. So ball is up, right? So am I technically flanking with it now?
Yes, but there's no bonus to it.
Okay. I wasn't sure. All right. So let's stabby stab with my rapier.
Go for it.
I don't believe that's going to hit. That's a 10.
Not quite enough. As you strike towards the creature, this time he's ready for it. As he swats at your hand, you feel the grip along your wrist as he slashes it away.
Okay, how's Calvin looking?
Well, I have 2 flaming swords and a mean old growl on my face. But otherwise, I'm alright.
Okay. In that case, now that guy's away, I'm gonna move right over... Yeah, actually, I'm gonna move over there beside Vesper. Just kind of walking around the guy that is near me.
Okay, with rapier out pointed towards him, you're just going to shift over, getting next to Vesper. And is that your turn?
Yeah, that'll be my turn.
Okay, that's going to bring us to Meli, who she's going to try to finish off this one that's taking some flames. And at this point, I'll say the net has been burned up from the flames, enough to where the tattered remains of it aren't enough to give her advantage, and that's not good. As she slings ice towards it, and it kind of just goes over its head, slamming into the wall behind, shattering ice into the vicinity. She's going to stay next to you, Ellery, as Ball is going to turns towards the one right next to him, and he's going to hackety hack. And he does hit, dealing not that great, but he does deal some damage. This remaining entity, as Ball slashes his axe into his shoulder, you hear it whoosh, deep into it as he withdraws the axe, momentarily lifting the ghoul up. As the ghoul lands on its feet once again, it is hanging to life. It will not last much longer. And that will actually bring it up to it, and it is going to recklessly go for you, Amson. You're the one that's been striking it. That is only 11, though. Yeah. As it's recovering, getting to its feet, it just strikes up wildly towards, and you're not even sure if he's aiming towards Vesper or Amson. You're not sure. He's just wildly sweeping, and you both just kind of duck backwards or duck under as the claws go over your heads. And that brings us up to round 5, and to you, Calvin.
So, this blue one, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it is hanging to life.
Okay. I'll, attack it once and see how that goes.
Okay, you run up to it.
Kind of shove my blade up into its middle.
Go for it.
13 plus 6, 19. 19 total.
Yeah, you strike.
3 fire and 6 slashing.
Yeah, you with that first strike, lifting it up as you go into its middle, into its stomach area, lifting it off its feet as you withdraw, the flames licking its stomach, burning the wound, and setting fire to the remains of its robes that it's wearing. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna drink my rapidity potion.
Is that a bonus action for you?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
And I will rush up. I will get 5, 10, right? Or is it just 5? 5. So I have another 40 feet, which will get me right there.
Nice. As you chug this, it's like a surge of caffeine directly into your legs as you move forward with renewed adrenaline to this creature who's not really netted anymore. There's still a few strands of nets around it, but not enough to impose any sort of restraint.
That's it.
Okay. So rushing up, that's going to bring us up to it. Actually, as you rush up straight to it, it's going to turn. And that is going to be a 21.
You know it. Actually, I'm going to use my blood maledict, make him roll at disadvantage.
Okay. So you lock eyes with it, and you see as it's bringing its left claw up, as time seems to move slowly, you lock eyes with it, seeing the darkness of this creature. It's burning embers of eyes, this red color, as it this time rolls a 20 to hit instead of 21.
Yeah, that does it.
8 slashing damage. It doesn't really hurt as it scrapes along your armor until it gets to your throat, some of the revealed areas that the armor doesn't quite cover, striking into you, and make a Constitution saving throw.
Constitution, that's 17.
Yeah, you are fine. You feel the numbing on your throat, but not enough to slow you down. And that creature's going to stay there, and that's going to bring that banishment. He returns at the end of its turn, correct?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
at the end of its turn.
At the end of its turn. I can do that. That creature is going to return. I'm not sure why it's not letting me do that, but I will fix that. Vesper is going to bring up to you. There's a few ghouls lying on the ground. One more where Calvin is fighting, and the banished one with still arrow in its throat area suddenly lands once again, looking around confused.
Okay. I'm going to Sacred Flame, the one that just reappeared then, so it needs to make a dex save.
Natural 16 plus 19.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Cool. And then I think bonus action, I'm going to Healing Word Wink.
Okay. So as a
That is...
strand of light strikes down, divine energy comes down, the creature just instinctively looking around, still trying to figure out what's going on, just instinctively steps back as it slams into the ground. The ash on the ground just seems to sizzle at the interaction between the divine light and this strange ashen ground.
So that's 7 points of healing to Wink.
As you whisper the divine word to Wink, some of his wounds healing up.
You.
Do you want to stay where you are, Vesper?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, staying there. That is actually going to bring us up to you, Wink. There are 2 remaining undead entities.
All right. I'm going to hope Cal's got that one covered. And I'm going to shoot at the big jawless one again.
Go for it.
Oh, natural 1.
Okay. You pull back. Roll a d20 for me, just a straight 20.
Son of a bitch.
Pull back. You're just ready to end this thing and bring it to its end as you almost overdraw.
Another one.
Overdraw the bow, and you hear just a click, and as you look up just in time, you move your head out of the way as the string on your bow comes undone. It doesn't snap completely, but it comes undone off the top of your bow and slashes down. It slaps across your face, stinging, causing a severe slash across your face as the bowstring itself comes undone of your bow, and the arrow falls to the ground.
Well, that's embarrassing. And I'm just going to kind of, I don't know, jump up and down to try and get its attention and back up.
Okay. After banishing it and it hearing this slashing twang sound from your bow reacting, it does look over. And that will bring us up to Ellery.
Okay, so I'm going to move down just a little bit first to make sure I have a real clear shot, and I'm going to cast Firebolt at the one that is engaged with Calvin at the moment.
Okay.
That's 21 total.
That'll hit.
And that, 10.
That will end it as the fire bolt launches across the battlefield, whipping up the ash with the movement of the wind underneath it as it slams into the creature at its side. As Calvin, you see it, the flames rolling over as it is knocked to the ground, unmoving, the flames slowly dying out. Do you want to stay there, Ellery?
Yep, I'm going to stay right where I am.
Okay, watching the flames lick over, slowly burning out, that will bring us up to Amson. There's one remaining. This is looking over to Wink. It's on its last leg. The banishing arrow is still stuck in its throat.
All right. I'm going to move over kind of away from it and south towards Calvin.
Okay.
And then I'm going to turn back, and I would like to try Vicious Mockery on it.
And that is a wisdom saving throw?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, he rolls a 4.
Yeah.
You had roll damage.
I'm going to... that's 2 points of psychic damage. if Psychic does anything.
How do you want to do this?
Yes! Another vicious mockery kill.
Yeah, as you shift over, you see it slowly starting to take steps towards eyeing it. I call out to it. What do you say?
I'm going to say, by all that is holy, how many times do I have to flush to get rid of you?
You see it hear this and turn its gaze over to you, and for a moment you notice the ears rounded like a human. You see patches of what remains of flesh, kind of pale, fair light. You can see what remains of clothing, vestments of some sort, almost clerical in nature, these robes, as it turns over, and for a moment you see a flash of humanity almost come across its face as it kind of realizes, looks around and sees what it's become, and it just looks up at you and exhales his last and falls backward onto his back, unmoving. A few tense moments go by as you're waiting to see if something else is going to come out of the ground or behind a wall. Nothing does. It's probably 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's overcast. The wind is heavy whipping, but you're mostly shielded from the wind itself, but you can hear it crossing over the ridges as you're in this strange ruin of this undead and defiled place. You can see the remains of the 4 buildings and then the larger building behind you in the distance with the dome-like structure at the top. What would you like to do?
As soon as it goes quiet, Vesper is frantically wiping all of this ash and soot off of herself.
Yeah, you can try to clean as best you can. And it's hard to get off your clothes, but you can get it off your face and off most of you.
I'm going to look for some arrows.
Okay, make a investigation check.
Okay, I fired 4 throughout the battle.
Okay.
And it was 5, and at least 3 hit something.
Okay.
I think I missed twice.
Okay. With 11, there looks like this one that was missed, and it hit either a rock or some hard substance that shattered it and broke it, irreparable. But the others you do find that are mostly intact. There's one that's deeply embedded, the banishing arrow, into the remains of the jawless one. But you do kind of have to twist it and be careful because of its placement. But you're able to withdraw it without hitting any sort of bone and snapping it. You're able to recover all but one of those arrows.
Great.
Over the next, 10, 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
While he's doing that, I'll ask, is everyone all right? Anybody need some healing?
I'm fine.
I'd rather wait until we're out of this place.
Fair enough.
I can last until then.
Speaking of getting out of this place, I do not like the looks of it. Do we want to backtrack and find a different way around, or do we want to go through?
We're already halfway through, aren't we? Klaus?
Yeah, just about.
We should. I don't know. Wing?
Oh, I was just going to say, as I'm pulling my arrows out of them, do I recognize anything about their clothing?
Yeah, you see, as you're pulling your arrows loose, you do notice they're kind of wearing the remains of robes. They're all matching, you notice, as you move from one to the other. Similar styles, similar make, it looks like, with the jawless one being of a different make, looks slightly more important. There's a few symbols on the side, but none of them have a full symbol that's totally intact. But kind of judging between all of them, you might be able to sort of put something together, though the symbol you're not exactly sure of. As you think on it, what's your passive history?
So that's 8 plus my bonus?
10. 10 plus your history.
15.
15? You've never traveled through this specific land, but you do recognize the symbol. As you learned during one of your travels, there is a kingdom of mostly Asimar. They are very xenophobic in a land called Ancient Etix. And they are mostly a city of Asimar descent. And their ruler is said to be, they're not sure, a demigod or a god. The ancient edicts are said to be ruled by a god, or at least that's what the xenophobic citizens of that kingdom believe. And this symbol seems to resemble it. Why they're way out here, you're not sure. But it seems to match the right symbol.
Interesting. I'll take the best, as many pieces I need as a approximation of the whole of it, and that's it.
Okay. So as Wink is pulling arrows out and investigating symbols, Vesper, you're kind of washing the things off your face. What are the rest of you guys doing? Anything in particular?
I'm just going to go around and make sure that everybody's doing okay. And if Wink still looks wounded, I'll give him one healing word. That'll be 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm almost at full now. Thank you.
I guess I'd like to look and see if any of them have anything interesting or potentially useful on them.
Okay. You can make an investigation check, kind of joining in with Wink, starting to look over their forms.
Oh, that is not good. That's a 4.
A 4? Okay, yeah. As you look over them, you check the pockets and what remains of pockets. A lot of the clothing is half destroyed, but checking in the pockets, you don't really find anything in particular. There's one pocket where you pull out some small, cylindrical-esque something, but it looks like it was once organic matter. You're not really sure what it is. It's far too just degraded to really know what it once was.
All right. Well, that was useful.
Anyone else, or do y'all just kind of are waiting? Are you patching up your wounds? Are you taking a short rest as the others are kind of searching, doing their thing?
Yeah, if we could take a short rest, that would be swell.
I'd rather get out of
y'all.
here first.
Yeah.
No offense, but I don't want to rest in this valley, wherever it is.
I was gonna say that if we are resting, then I want to start moving up ahead a little bit. Not very much, but just a little bit to see up ahead, around the corner kind of deal, where exactly we're going to be traveling.
Sure. Okay. Are y'all going to make a rest, or y'all want to get a look first?
I think we should probably get out of here first.
Agreed.
We'll say, Amson, as you do kind of move up, as the others are kind of washing their face off and searching the bodies, you move up, and there are the 4 ruins where you were in the center of fighting, and there's the 5th ruin that's more intact than the others. You see it's larger, taller, with a vaguely circular dome on the top of the dark stone, curve at weird, odd angles made with this same dark, reddish-purple stone. The base is probably a solid 10 feet off the ground, almost on stilts, but of solid stone. There's a wide set of angled and shifting, strangely sloping stairs that lead up into a platform underneath the dome that's made up with columns and beams with no solid roof remaining, held up by the dark columns. And just staring as you're walking in that direction, you can just barely see over the stairs. There's a circular archway, but you can't really make up anything beyond that. Looking in the rest of this valley, you see most of the ground is covered in that ash with those thorny roots that twist up every now and then. And like I said, you can hear the heavy wind above you, but it's kind of whipping over the ridges as the valley is kind of sheltering you from the wind.
As I see this building, I'm not sure exactly what would fit for this, but I guess maybe history to see if I can take a guess as to what this building looks like. Maybe it looks like a church or a temple of some sort, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you can make either a history or a religion check.
They're the same, honestly. Let's go with history. That's a 9.
Okay. Trying to remember anything specifically about the Noct region and any sort of ongoings dealing with any sort of temple that fits this description. You can't remember anything, but the way it looks, it definitely looks something dark, unnatural, but you're not really sure of its origins.
Okay. Then after sitting there and thinking for a little bit, I want to move past this ruin and kind of look out into the valley area towards where we're walking towards, and see, and just kind of do a sweep over the area and see what looks like is ahead of us, whether it's like forests or hills or rivers or whatever.
Yeah, and that would just take a minute or so to kind of move over there. Do you want to go ahead and give me a probably either a perception or a survival check? You can just kind of get a little idea of what's up ahead. And as Amson kind of moves ahead, are y'all kind of staying with him? Or y'all kind of hanging back, the rest of the group?
I'm not going to be right up next to him, but I'm going to be kind of trailing behind him a bit.
Okay, so kind of hanging back. So Amson, as you move forward, go ahead and roll that perception or survival.
All right, it's the same thing, so...
Okay.
That's a 14.
14. Okay. So you kind of judge this little valley you're in is sort of like a wide taco almost shape with the ruins and such in the center. And as you walk past this domed ruin, you see beyond it, it looks like it arrows again, just like the narrow entrance into the valley. But it does look like there's an exit. And as you just kind of come up the hill to be able to see this exit, you see it goes for a little while and you see it drop off into, you're not sure how far it goes down, but a drop off of a cliff. But you do see a rickety old bridge anchored by two stone short pillars on each side. The bridge is maybe spans 50 feet across. The rope is thick, but it looks old.
All right.
And it continues on to another cliff and another crag, basically, that leads winding through, heading west.
Okay. So, like, the cliff, kind of looking down it, it's like you can't see the bottom. Is it covered in like?
As you do, if you do get close enough to where you're right up on the bridge, you can look down, and it's several hundred feet down.
Okay, so I can see the bottom.
Yeah, you can see the bottom. Yeah, just if you kind of go up the hill towards the edge, closer to the edge of the cliff, you can then see down once you're close enough to it.
Does it look like is there like a little creek there, or is there is it like a dried out riverbed kind of deal, or?
You don't see any water down there. You see it's kind of a crag, and it's not a very elongated crag. It's sort of almost like a dive down, and it gets very dark down there, but you don't see any water.
Okay.
I'm trying to hear. It's very windy. It's hard to hear anything as well.
All right. I'll wrap my coat around me a little bit more since it's really windy, and then turn back and run into Ellery and be like, "Oh, didn't. Oh, right.
See anything interesting?
Well, the bridge," and I kind of point over in that direction. It doesn't look very safe, but I'm not sure how else to get across the chasm. Past that, however, it looks... I did see the exit of this valley that we need to go to. I can see it, so it's not that far, but probably take us a few hours to get there still.
Lovely.
Let's get back to the group.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll come back to the group as Weeg has kind of gathered up what he wanted and took the time to restring his bow. Luckily, the string itself didn't snap. As y'all kind of gather up, kind of, I assume maybe past the dome, but nearby it, in between the bridge and the dome, what would you like to do?
When we get back to everybody, I'll brief everybody on my very short scouting mission. Tell them where the valley is, what it looks like we'll be coming across in terms of like terrain, and then I'll talk about the bridge a little bit.
And as he's informing you all, Amson, you noticed this earlier, but you all do notice there are runes that run across the front above the staircase, top of the dome structure. You see these very sharp and jagged runes, clearly letters of some sort. If anyone speaks fiendish languages, tell me which ones you speak.
I speak Infernal.
Okay. So, Ellery, you look at it, and you read it to be, where is it? Shash Diramat. I'll spell it for you. Which roughly translate to chain shrine. You don't know really what it means, but that's what it says.
Chain shrine?
Chain shrine, yeah, like chain link fence, chain shrine.
Okay. So, I tell everyone what I read and ask if anybody knows what that means or has heard of something like that before. You
guys can, what's your religion scores? You can either roll one or you can do the passive 10 plus your religion score.
I'll roll. Nope, that should not have done that.
I've got a 14.
14?
I rolled, so I have a 6.
Okay.
But I would have had 14.
So, Vesper, your head's still ringing from this conflict. You're still kind of like trying to place it. Amson with a 14. You don't know what chain shrine refers to, but if Ellery does kind of inform you that it is infernal, you've heard of shrines to entities, devils and demons and other nefarious entities where people will go to in order to offer something in order to draw power from it. So this may be some sort of shrine. You don't know to which entity it is, but this seems like it might be one of those, though it looks ruined at this point.
All right, I'll tell everybody that I think that it's some sort of dedicatory shrine to a fiendish overlord of sorts who is related to, imprisonment and chains and stuff like that.
Well, let's stay the fuck out of that.
Agreed.
Really?
Let's go.
You're not even a little bit curious, just maybe slightly.
Not curious enough.
Yeah, I like stories. I like to learn about all sorts of different things that I can tell about other people. But the point is that I have to be able to tell other people about it. I like to hear second and third hand information.
But these people, I mean, they don't belong here, and we could learn. Okay, fine.
I appreciate your enthusiasm, Wink, but we did almost die to things that were already dead.
Yeah, we're fine, right? Right, fine. Let's go.
Everyone give me a perception check. And did y'all take a short rest, or are y'all just getting out of here for now?
Nope. I should have
Okay.
disadvantage on.
I got a natural 20.
Okay.
I got a natural 1.
18 total.
18.
Calvin? Okay. So Ellery, Amson, and Wink, you, as you're kind of finishing this conversation, grabbing your stuff, preparing to move out, you hear above the wind you hear it increasing. You glance up and you see what's overcast is slowly getting darker. The wind is getting louder. You both also hear this strange kind of pattern in the wind, and it almost sounds like a flag that's being whipped in the wind, but you don't see any banner anywhere. Amson, you hear it, and you hear a distinct, for just a split second, you hear a distinct pattern to it that sounds like flapping wings. You look around and you don't see anything, but you hear it. It's close, and it's hard to tell, blending in with the wind and the sound of these wings itself. It's hard to tell exactly where it is, but it's close, and it's in the direction of the dome.
Okay.
And it goes for about 5 seconds, and then it stops.
Okay, when I hear that, I'll unhook my hand crossbow from my left leg that I got it, and then I'll kind of look up towards in that direction and study it carefully, and just kind of stop, while still taking like half steps back towards the bridge, I guess, if that's where we're going. But yeah, just
Okay.
being very alert, having my hand crossbow out and ready to shoot.
Okay, so being alert and kind of as you are moving away from it and you're just keeping an eye, almost walking backwards, you see no entity, and you hear nothing further, but you do notice kind of the ash that's being whipped up by the wind a little bit. You see some of it move and suddenly stop midair. And you see it's like the ash is kind of being whipped up and then suddenly stops and then slowly slides in a weird angle and then whips up again as you're backing up. At this point, you're far enough away to where you can't see those details at this distance anymore, but you did notice that before you got too far away.
I'm gonna kind of get everybody's attention and be like, all right, I don't think we're alone here. There might be some thing or someone invisible nearby.
I vote that we get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no longer curious. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Great.
Okay.
Is this typical, bridge over death drop?
Yes.
Great. Solid plan. Let's go.
Indiana Jones style chasm with like a tiny itty bitty wooden rickety bridge.
Yeah, and as you do, kind of with renewed haste, move to the other end of the valley through the kind of narrow crag and then up a hill to where Amson told you about this bridge. You do see the two same dark stone, reddish purple pillars that are kind of anchoring this old bridge. Very thick rope, kind of like how Ball has wrapped around it, but it does look very old. Strung across it with these old wooden planks. You see a few planks are missing every now and then. It looks old, but it, at one time was very well made.
Okay.
I mean, and like I said, it goes about 50 feet across this chasm as you're moving up there. And at this point, because the wind is picked up, you do see the bridge kind of rocking from side to side in the wind.
Okay. I would like to roll an investigation check, and if anybody wants to help, that'd be great. To gauge the structural integrity of this bridge, specifically as it relates to Ball.
Yeah, I was going to ask the exact same thing, so...
So if anybody wants to help and give me advantage, that'd be awesome.
I'll help you with that.
All right, awesome.
Okay, so... Good.
While they're doing that, Wing's just going to go across the bridge.
I'll check it out. I'm probably the lightest, so if it falls with me, we're all fucked.
Okay. Right. So just as Amson and Ellery get down to begin looking at the anchors and the ropes and the planks and then start to inspect these things, Wink just strolls across. Wink, can you just walk across? Is there a plan here, or are you just walking?
I'm going to walk carefully, specifically looking at my steps like, does that board look cracked? But I'm trying to see if I can't make it across, none of them can.
Okay, with some sort of caution. Okay.
Yes.
So you're not like running across there. You're kind of taking it at a slower pace. And moving across, when you grab one of the ropes, because the bridge is rocking from side to side, but as long as you're not being too reckless and you're being careful about it, you kind of slowly move across. There's a few missing planks, and you get a good 10, 15 feet across. Slowly kind of holding onto the rope with two hands, moving across. You get halfway across, about 25 feet, with no immediate reaction from the bridge itself other than the rocking. And you eventually kind of get 40 feet and then eventually get to the other side. There was a few that you stepped on, planks, and then you took your foot off because it wasn't going to bear even your weight. But most of them had no trouble bearing your weight.
All right. Can I, as I'm going through, I don't know how I will do this, but I want to mark the boards that I think are really funny under my weight. So what do I have? I assume I have some kind of like ink that I can just kind of dip my finger in and like drag somewhere.
Yeah, if you have ink, or you could even use like a knife or an arrowhead to carve it in there. But yeah, if you have ink, you can just kind of put
just so X. I can quickly, like any that look particularly bad as I'm going through, I'll just drag a swipe of ink across.
Okay. So since you're doing that, Wink, go ahead and give me a investigation check, and then Amson give me one at advantage.
All right.
Because Ellery's helping you.
Thank goodness for advantage. That's a 23.
23, that is very good. And Wink a 15. So Wink, you mark about 3 planks as you're getting to the other side of planks of questionable repute, we'll say. Okay. As Amson, you are looking at it. The rope is old but hardy. It looks like it's been sealed with some sort of wax-like substance that's kind of preserved it for however long it's been there. The columns are old but sturdy. You see a few chipped off pieces of rock, and judging their weight, whatever stone this is very dense. So the anchors are firmly in place. You kind of push on them. They're not rocking at all. The rope seems good. And just judging the planks by Wink's weight as he walks across and you testing the first couple, it seems like most of you are going to go without issue. The big question is Ball. And judging by the strength of the ropes, The ropes should be okay with them. The planks themselves look questionable. And there's 4 ropes total. There's 2 holding kind of the planks together, and then 2 is sort of guiding handrails as well.
All right. So I'll let everybody know that. And I will suggest to Ball that instead of walking across, he instead crawl across or kind of shuffle along his belly so that his weight is distributed over a large amount. That way, he's not stepping on 3 or 4 boards. He's laying down on 8 of them.
Paul kind of nods in recognition as he looks out across the bridge.
Yeah, and if he's going to do that, he should hold on to the lower pair of ropes as he goes.
Again, a nods once again.
Kind of shouting across, not Ball's giant rope, but does anyone have a rope longer than 50 feet?
I have one that's just 50 feet, but...
I was going to say I could shoot it over to the other side and tie it down over here, but not with just 50 feet. Okay, never mind.
While everybody is crossing, I just want to set up with my bow out, kind of watching to see if anything follows them.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and give me a perception check. As the rest of you, are y'all marching across? In what order? What is the plan?
Should we do this one at a time?
Yeah, absolutely. Ellery, would you like to go first? You're probably the next lightest, other than Wink.
Sure. I'll give it a go.
Okay. And Ellery, are you being semi-cautious or are you sprinting across? I see.
Yeah, I'm going to be careful.
Okay. Taking it slow, you're moving along, and there's a few planks that give you worry, but Wink is marked. You see black ink X's on about 3 of the boards, and you see those, and you just take a wide step over them. There's a few other missing planks, and you can feel them kind of bending under your weight, but you're not enough weight to snap anything, but you are holding the ropes very carefully. You do hear a few that kind of creak that weren't marked, and you kind of hear, and you quickly move your foot to the next plank, moving across 10, 25, 40, eventually getting to the other side where you see Wink is kind of glancing back towards y'all, and then turns around ahead and kind of is watching both sides just for any movement. Wink, so far you haven't noticed anything, but I'll keep that perception in mind.
Okay,
and you get to the other side.
As soon as I get over there, I'm also going to start looking for trouble, if anything's coming, behind the others.
Okay, so you'll turn around and do the same thing as well. Say you can either roll perception or Wink can, or one of y'all can re-roll at advantage, or we can have 2 separate perceptions.
I'll go ahead and roll perception.
Okay.
That's 18.
18. Okay, so both of you are kind of keeping watch as you're waiting for the next individual to go across. Who shall be?
I'll go next.
Meli.
I was just going to say.
Okay, yeah, Meli can go.
Okay, so Meli, she actually is very quickly reading through her book. And she's trying to look for something. She doesn't, but she does pull out a little vial. Well, I did have this featherfall potion. I can't do her. I don't know what her accent's like, but she does pull out this potion that she says is a featherfall that someone could drink as a just in case. As she kind of looks towards the Ball, as she's holding it, kind of offering it to anyone, but eyeing Ball for it.
Point to Ball.
Okay. With some confirmation from her friend, she hands it over to Ball, who kind of reluctantly takes it, but then kind of understandably, he gets it and takes the vial. And then she does carefully moves across. She's pretty light of feet as well, as she moves across, avoiding the planks, getting to the other side. As she kind of begins to back up Wink and Ellery, turning back to the rest of the group.
All right. I think I'll go next, and what I'll do is I'll take a rope from my backpack, and I'll tie it to my backpack, and then cross, and then drag my backpack across, because my backpack's 50 pounds.
Smart. Okay. And you have a 50-foot rope?
Yeah.
Or are you going to just drag it behind you like 10 or 15 feet?
I do have a 50-foot rope.
Okay. How far behind it do you want to drag it? Behind you?
Maybe 30 feet.
Okay. You start to move across, slowly tying the backpack to the rope, dispersing that heavy weight. You move across. As you're dragging it along, there's a few places where there's no planks at all, and you just pull it, and the backpack just kind of falls into the hole where there's a missing plank, and you kind of pull it. The rope comes up, it snags a little bit, and you kind of pull it, and it props up again as you're slowly dragging it behind, taking it slow. There is a moment when, as you're moving and dragging it, there's a plank, the one Ellery you stepped on. You kind of see it, and you're like, wait, kind of under your breath as the backpack kind of, as the plank breaks, and the two pieces of board kind of, you don't hear the impact. But Anson, you are able to slowly pull that along as that plank breaks, but you do eventually get to the other side, pulling your backpack to the other side as well.
And then I'll untie it and put my backpack back on.
Okay. Remaining are just Vesper, Calvin, and Ball.
If Calvin's not going to go, I'll go.
Okay. And Vesper, your pack, speaking of packs, is it exorbitantly heavy, or do you have much stuff?
I don't have a whole lot. I've just got
mainly heavy things.
Yeah, nah.
Okay, mostly just ropes and books and papers. Okay, Vesper, you don't weigh enough. You're just like a Wink, Ellery, Meli. You can take it easy and get over without too much of an issue. And because Amson kind of disperses weight a little bit, he's able to get over without issue. And then Ball looks towards you, Colin. Here you go.
Was the plan to let Ball go last, or I mean, if not, then I'll try to usher him across. I don't think I'm going to be that much lighter. I mean, he's huge, but if he can't get across, then
you can see Ball kind of looking at you, but he'll eventually just go with, he'll shake his head and just kind of turn to slowly start to move across. Ball is a big individual with his armor as well. Taking a note from Amson, he does take off his pack at least. It takes off some of the pounds, but he's a big individual wearing some pretty heavy armor as well. And for him, he's getting on his stomach like Amson and Ellery have instructed, and he grabs onto the bottom rope and kind of begins almost dragging him across. He gets only about 15 feet, and you hear, and you see flying behind him where it looks like 3 planks have broken under his weight, and he's kind of trying to drag himself along with his feet and arms. As there's more and more planks break, you can see the ropes beginning to almost split and widen in the bridge as there's less structure holding those ropes together. You see he moves over about halfway across, about 25 feet. A few more planks break off. You can see almost like a zipper as the bridge is beginning to expand a little bit because there's less planks kind of holding it together. You see a few straining and the planks snap off on just one end as Ball's moving across about halfway across.
I am praying, holding onto my holy symbol.
For the second half, he kind of lifts himself off the planks just a little bit. He's not dispersing his weight out as well, but more of the weight is on the ropes. As he's moving across, only about 2 more planks break on that last half, where the first one he broke maybe 6. And he does kind of move towards the end of eventually getting to the other side where the anchors are, grabbing the edges. You kind of grab his arms and kind of pull him over to the other side. Looking back at the bridge, at this point, maybe half of the planks are missing. Maybe 40% are gone. As it's just Calvin on the other side.
You said the ropes were fraying?
The rope seems like it's holding intact, but the ropes are held as a bridge structure by the planks in between them, and the planks are the ones that are breaking off. So the ropes seem to be holding.
The ropes were okay. Well, that's fine. Then I'll just try to take I'll kind of one limb on each rope and kind of shimmy.
Okay, give me with the planks missing and with you being a little bit of a heavier individual, give me a dexterity check. This could be acrobatics if you're proficient.
I'm not, but I am at disadvantage.
Great.
So that it's just a straight check. It's at 11.
Acrobatics, if you have proficiency.
11.
Okay. So you're moving along kind of slowly. There's a lot of missing planks, especially the first half. And there's a couple times where you step on the edge of a plank and the plank falls and you kind of slip, but you're able to maintain your grip. You kind of get up, back up, shimmying over to about halfway across. Give me one more check as you're finishing the second half. There are more planks on this side.
That's a 5.
A 5. So you get about 30 feet across. And you're kind of putting your weight on the ropes. And this is where Ball started to shift his weight to the ropes as well. And you start to see the bottom right thick rope. You start to see you see the tangled mass of threads that are sort of like on the outside as they're actually very quickly kind of snapping off.
Can
these individual threads.
Would I be able to pull out my hammer and try to use my mending? Just kind of like quick whack it one-handed?
Yeah, you can see this rope is quickly... the individual threads that make up this rope are quickly breaking, and you can either try to sprint off the remaining few feet or pull out your hammer. Do you want to pull out your hammer?
Pull out my hammer. I'm at disadvantage on dex, so this is my best bet.
Are you going to use the ability for it?
Yes.
Okay, so you pull out the hammer and slam it onto the rope, which is a strange circumstance trying to fix a rope. But the head of the hammer glows brightly for a moment as all of the threads that are torn and asunder suddenly just reach and grab each other once again into interlocking, like a hand's kind of interwoven fingers, holding itself tightly for a moment. You can see it's straining a little bit and one or two break off, but it seems to be holding for now. As you continue across, give me one more dex check. This time just a flat roll because you fixed the rope.
Okay. I'm still at disadvantage.
Disadvantage plus advantage, just a straight roll.
Oh, so I have advantage?
Yeah, you have advantage, but it cancels. So
it's an 11 again.
Okay. Yeah, it's not too hard at this point to walk across. There's a number of planks that are missing, but not as much as the first half, and you're able to walk across to the other side. Looking back across, everyone has made it to the other side of this bridge. What would you like to do?
That was way too close.
Yeah, I'd rather not do that again.
Yeah, let's probably not go back this way.
We'll have to find a different way to get back to where we're going when we're going home.
Yeah. Everybody good? Everybody all right?
Do we...
For the record, I am sufficiently bloodied.
Yeah, I was going to suggest we take a rest here before we go forward.
I'll give Calvin a healing word. That is 5. Try to find a nice flat place to rest for a little bit.
Only right next to this bridge on the other side is a pretty flat area. As you look in, there are a number of other narrow crags that seem to go into the same almost maze-like assortment of crag directions the further you go in. So you could test the waters going into one of there, or you could stay on the flat surface where you're at. The wind is whipping up, and as you kind of look up, you see Ball is actually looking up. Storm. You hear him say the single word.
Right. Probably find some shelter for you then, and I kind of look at Calvin as saying that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
In the area where there's crags, can I make if it's necessary, of course, I want to investigate those crags and see if they would provide sufficient cover for a storm, and if I have to roll an investigation check for that, I can.
Just at a cursory glance, it would at least block you from the wind. However, there's nothing over the top that would provide good cover. You can make a survival check to kind of look into it a little bit more.
Okay. That's a 6.
Okay. So as Amson kind of moves forward, starts looking into the crags, looking for some sort of outcropping or something with some better covering, are the rest of you kind of staying with them? Are you doing anything particular?
Yeah, I'm gonna... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Calvin tries to stay with Amson as much as possible.
Yeah, same, basically.
Okay, so y'all move up, make sure you're with each other. As you are moving kind of into these crags, Amson, There's a few regions where the ridges kind of curve up a little bit, but not enough to provide anything that's substantial. As you move just maybe 10, 15 minutes forward into these various crags, and just for the immediate vicinity, you don't notice anything. You'd have to go further. You kind of move forth into one of the crags. This kind of led to, looks like there's 2 routes forward. There's one to the left, and then there's the one you came from behind you towards the bridge.
Okay. I'll kind of meet back with everybody else and be like, the crags are kind of narrow. They're not going to provide a cover against the rain, though, but it's not windy in there. Do we want to keep going and try to find something better, or...
We don't really know what we're going to find in there, so maybe it's better to stay somewhere where we haven't seen any trouble yet.
I have a question. So in this valley area, is it like just wasteland, or is there like vegetation and stuff like that around here?
It's mostly rocky, mountainous terrain. There is vegetation, some trees, though there's becoming less and less of them as you're increasing in altitude. There's becoming more low shrubbery, some grass, but there are a few kind of sapling, shorter trees. The only place where there really wasn't anything besides those thorny roots was the place you came from where the ruins were. But there is some vegetation. There is some life.
I just don't think we should go too far forward before we take a rest.
We should rest as soon as possible, yes. Here's a suggestion. You all can get your feedback on that. Maybe we can just take a small rest in the crags over there and keep going afterwards.
That works for me.
Calvin, Ball, Vespa, Meli? Wink?
That's fine. It's fine with the rest of the group.
Sure.
Alright. Let's do that then.
Okay. So you guys kind of move forward a little bit into that area, the convergence of a few different routes, kind of settle down the patch up your wounds, take a short rest for about an hour. At this point, we'll take a quick break. You guys can roll any hit dice you need to, and then we'll jump back in at the end of that short rest. About a 5-minute break, and we'll be right back in a second.
Next time on Back to the Story.
He's more likely to listen to you than he is to listen to me.
Anybody can talk to me about anything.
It's strange, though, because you hear the wind, but you don't feel it that strong. But you can hear, coming from up ahead, you hear more and more whistling. This is a altar to Duma.